A new Grand Arena season means more Darkside Ray on defense. Who's looking forward to it? What's up, Knights of Vex, and welcome to today's video, where today we're going to talk about the best 5v5 teams for the month of July in the upcoming Grand Arena season. Last season was bizarre. Absolute insanity. We had Darkside Vision Ray for the first time on Grand Arena defense, and it was an absolute nightmare. It should hopefully be a lot easier in 5v5. I'm hoping. We're going to have to see. But for today's video, we're going to talk about the best defensive teams, offensive teams, in a category I like to call Flex, where the team I put in that category can go both on either offense or defense. Depending on certain matchups, if you want to change it up or not, they're going to be viable in both areas. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Lots of changes to the meta. 5v5 is hopefully going to be easier than 3v3, but we're going to get into all the fun today. So if you guys enjoy this content, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to be notified for more. It's the best way to support me, guys, and we're now on the road for 5,000 subs, so let's see how quick we can get there. But first, to start out the best teams, we're going to start with the defensive teams and show you what I came up with. Starting with the best defensive teams for the upcoming 5v5 season, we have to talk about the best team in the game as of right now. That's Supreme Leader Kylo Ren with Darkside Vision Ray, Focus Datacron. If you have all three Omicrons, you're going to be doing really well. I've seen players all the way from Erodium 4 climb all the way up to Kyber just with this team alone. That's how powerful this team is. It's going to be a nightmare on defense. You need to bring in the specific counters to be able to counter it, and we're going to all find that out. But regardless, this team is going to be a staple on defense. I think for the first week, I'm going to try to put First Order Stormtrooper as a single tank just to see how it's going to do, because I can keep my crew with my unaligned Force User team and keep Sith Trooper in there for the extra damage. If that doesn't work out, I am planning on putting the double tank variant to try to just really spice up that team. But I feel like having crew in my unaligned Force User team will be extremely helpful. So I will be trying this out for the first week. Which leaves to the second best team in the game right now in Grand Arena. That is Lord Vader Clones with the Apo Datacron. Or if you guys don't have that one, you could use either the CX2 or Scorch Datacrons. I think those two are going to be your best options for that team. Going to be an absolute annoyance on defense. If your go-to counters don't work, you're kind of screwed. So these two teams are going to be the ones that stop you hardcore this season. Expect big things from them. Not that easy. And then we're going to get into a combination of Rey. And this is going to be the team that I set with Rey for the first week. It's going to be Rey, Ben, Barriss, General Kenobi, and Cal Kestis. Now, yes, I know Cal Kestis is really good in an unaligned Force User team, but I really like what the synergy with this team brings, especially with the Barriss level 9, the absolute insanity it could bring to the team if you kill her too early, or if you kill her, midway in the battle. She's going to give your team 100% turn meter, 100% offense. She's going to revive people. Really dangerous, especially with Ben Solo. He hits like an absolute truck. So I like the anti-critical hit synergy with General Kenobi, and if you do get crit, Barriss is going to heal you. And then you have Cal Kestis with the protection up. It's kind of an all-around really annoying team, so I'm planning on setting this on defense with the Barriss level 9 and the damage reduction for Jedi Vanguard 6. Expect big things from this team this season. If you guys want to add Ezra to the team, you don't have Ahsoka yet, or you just want to make a super powerful, Rey team, I'm going to recommend Rey, Ben, Ezra, Barriss, and General Kenobi. That will allow you to put Cal back with your unaligned Force User team and create a super powerful Rey team that's going to require a very massive counter. So those are the two options I'm going to give you, because I know not a lot of players like Ahsoka, and to be honest, Ahsoka's viability on defense is kind of going downhill with the more encounters that are coming out. So I want to give both options, which leads to the next Galactic Legend, Ahsoka Tano. Now, I'm going to show you the two options for this team as well. In my opinion, Ahsoka really cannot be set on defense unless she has a very certain Datacron, especially with Ezra, because if you don't have the Datacron and you do set her with Ezra, you're going to be walked over by Great Mothers if your opponent's modding is correct. So the first team I'm going to recommend is Ahsoka with Ezra, which should be the staple team for her. You just got to bring in if your opponent has Great Mothers modded a certain way, you got to bring in a Terminator-Cron to shut down that counter. Otherwise, they're going to get walked over. So you got to do a little bit of scouting on your opponent and see if they have the mods to pull it off. But the first team I'm going to recommend is her OG home with Ezra. That's how it should be. Still a strong team if you have them modded correctly. I hope you have a fast Ezra. If you don't have that and you want to shut down Bo-Katan Mandalore, then I'm going to recommend Ahsoka with Wat Tambor instead of Ezra to try to, if you want to make a powerful Rey team, you want to just keep Ahsoka to be a little bit of an annoyance, you could put the Wat Tambor variant, which will most likely shut down Bo-Katan Mandalore. But now there's a weird Jedi Knight Revan counter that came out where you can get her down to 1% health, and then if you bring in Cal Kestis, she goes down fairly easily. So we have to see if that's going to be possible in 5v5. I know it is for 3v3, but regardless, if you want to make a split kind of team like this, throw in Ahsoka with Wat Tambor. It will require either like a Bane level team, or even Great Mothers, stuff like that. Those are probably the two counters I'm going to think of that aren't GLs, but still, you got to set a certain, you got to use a certain team to go against her, but doesn't mean she's very good on defense. Then we got to talk about the newest legendary character to the game that was a little bit disappointing in 3v3, but I think his time to shine is going to be in 5v5 because we have the full team set the way it should be. There's no weird splits. So it's Jedi Master Mace Windu, Depa Billaba, Jocasta Nu, Temple Guard, and Aayla Secura. Really good team. I think they're really going to do well. If you have the Temple Guard focused Datacron, I don't even think that's going to be the best one for this team. I think you're going to want to use the Aayla Secura one with either the Wordy Jedi Vanguard one or even the defense to offense conversion. This team hits really hard. It actually cost me last round in 3v3 because Depa Billaba was hitting like an absolute truck. So keep a big eye on this team. I think the Sith will be able to deal with them. That doesn't mean it's going to be a bad team on defense. They're fairly new. We don't know much about them in 5v5. So that is what I'm going to recommend for them. And then we're going to move on to Gungans. We have a Gungan Datacron set, and there's two really powerful ones. The 100% damage on level 6 and the stun level 6. I think if you pair that in with Tarpals or even the Gungan Phalanx, which is the tank, that brings a pretty strong team. You're not going to be able to do anything crazy underman, I think, or like low ball. I think you got to bring in a serious team to go against it. That 100% damage is no joke, especially with Boomadir and Tarpals. Those AoEs could absolutely nuke your team. So I do think Gungans can go back on defense this season. I really expect them to do really big damage. Then we have to talk about Finn. And is Finn a S tier team anymore? No, but it doesn't mean they're bad. If you don't bring in the right counters, you're screwed. Sidious might be able to solo them this season. I have seen them fail. I have seen Sidious fail against them, so depending on how good your team is modded and the Datacron, you could potentially take out a Sidious. But regardless, they're really good, and I think they're going to be always a pretty annoying team. Then we got to talk about Trench, and if you don't plan on using Ahsoka with Wat, I think Trench with Wat is a good option for a defensive team. There's the Count Dooku level 9, which is actually really good. You cannot underestimate it. If you guys don't feel like using Wat Tambor in this lineup, then I recommend just throwing in Geonosian and Brood Alpha as a 5th. It will still require a decent team to take this out. Obviously, their peak value is with Wat Tambor, but if you want to use Wat for other things, then I would slot in Geonosian and Brood Alpha, but still a very solid team. Then we got to talk about General Grievous, and General Grievous has a level 9 ability that is very strong, where he's going to be assisting after each of his allies' turns or attacks. So you pair this up with Omicron's Stap, this could be pretty dangerous. Dark Trooper Moff Gideon is not always a guarantee. There are times you're going to get stuck in a Terminator loop where they're going to be taking constant turns because they're attacking all the target lock enemies, and you can just go down fairly easily. So DTMG is not always a sink for this team. So Grievous, still going to be good. I think he's going to be viable on defense with the Separatist Datacron. Then Tuskens, and Tuskens are one of those teams that are just always really annoying. If you don't bring in the right counter, you'll get shut down. I think they're better in 3v3 than 5v5, but I still think they can cause annoyance for any division, including Kyber 1 or even, down all the way down to Erodium. So I do think Tuskens are still a defensive viable team. We're just going to have to see how well they do, but still very good to throw in there. And the last one I want to throw in is going to be a little bit of a curveball, the Krennic level 15. Now, do I think Krennic level 15 warrants the use of the support cron? Probably not. But if you want to, try this out every now and then with a couple of your matches to see how it's going to do, there's not a ton of data on it. If your opponent doesn't bring in the right counter, you could probably lose this. It pretty much gets you permanently ability blocked for the rest of the battle if they get to their, their claws with the insight. So I'm thinking this is a pretty good leftover team to use. You're definitely going to have the synergy with Short Trooper and Death Trooper because they are built into the Datacron. Thrawn doesn't necessarily have a home right now, and neither does Royal Guard because of Lord Vader. So I thought bringing in another tank and a good utility support would be a pretty good option here. So that is going to be the defensive list, guys. We're now going to move on to the offensive list. Moving on to the offensive list, I have to include Jedi Master Kenobi first because I think he's going to be your premium SLKR counter for the season. I think adding in Mace is a good 5th because if your Darkside Rey opponent is applying a shock ability, then your General Kenobi is kind of useless if you can't put that critical hit immunity up. So I think Mace is going to be pretty clutch with the ability blocks and the passing of the turn. So I think Mace is going to be a better 5th as a tank. And General Kenobi, honestly, does really well with the Ray Squad. So I think that's a good split. I think Padme is going to help a lot with the out-of-turn attacks, giving that protection up, not being able to get crit. I think you pair this in with the Hermit Yoda Kron, or even a very high defensive Kron or a high health Kron, you might be in pretty good shape against a SOKR. I don't think you can just completely auto the battle. You got to play it pretty strategically, but I do think this will be the good team for 5v5 against Kylo. So that's what I'm recommending for offense. Which leaves to the second GL for offense. I'm going to be recommending Leia for offense. I think her value is just so imperative. She could take out so many good teams, including the Lord Vader team with the new clones with the Apo Datacron. She could take out a Rey squad. She could take out a Ahsoka squad. Her value is insane on offense that I just cannot recommend her on defense this season. And she's really good at banner recovery and has really good AoEs. So you're going to be able to cheese the battle with Radis and Jin. Really good for them. You just put the stealth onto everyone and have them target Jin. You're in really good shape. So Leia, absolutely offensive this season. Which leaves to the next team. And I know what you're thinking. Jabba. And actually, Mob Enforcer shouldn't even be here. Should be a different person. It should be Boba Fett. So I'm actually going to fix that with you guys right now. This was probably from the Mob Enforcer season. But I'm recommending a Jabba team with Leia, Boba Fett, Skiff Guard Lando, and Gamorrean Guard. That is meant to stay. The reason Gamorrean Guard is there is because of Afra. Afra has a really good synergy with Chrysanthemum and with the Focus Datacron. So I think Gamorrean Guard is going to perform just as fine on offense. Probably going to be used as my Baneling counter. But regardless, you cannot set Jabba on defense this season specifically because of the Dr. Afra Focus Datacron. So that is the team I'm going to be using. Mob Enforcer was just from the previous set. So that is my bad. But Boba Fett is an absolutely really good fit there. Now this one's going to be pretty exciting, I think, and it's going to be the Droid Nuke team. This has been a very good team in the past from the previous support Datacron set. You're able to destroy Galactic Legends. You can beat Queen Amidala teams. It's actually a ton of fun if that's where you choose to use the support Kron. So Dark Trooper gets this ramping critical damage, and his AoE can absolutely one-shot people. It is nasty. I hope I'm able to use this once in a while during the season. I am in a different bracket compared to you guys. I'm now entering the top 50, so this could be pretty hard to pull off. But regardless, the Droid Nuke team is very fun to use and going to be really good at taking out a couple GLs this season. Then we got to talk about these two. I'm going to talk about them combined. Now, Bane and Malik was my go-to counter for SLKR in 3v3, especially with Malik. Do I think it's going to be the same degree of viable? I don't know. I'm going to lean towards no, but I could be wrong. We're going to have to play out and see how it goes. It might be a lot more challenging, but regardless, very good duo together. If you're not planning on using Bane with Malik against SOKR, you can use another second Sith in their spot, but I wanted to include Malik here specifically for the SOKR counter. If you're going to try it out, we all need to test it out and see. Then, obviously, there's Sith Eternal and Bane combined, which are a powerhouse duo. They could practically take out pretty much any team in the game if, played correctly. So, very powerful. If not, use Sith Eternal by himself. Very good as a solo GL. Then we got to talk about Sidious. And Sidious is so hot and cold for me. I had a really good end to my season with Sidious, but I had a horrible midpoint where he kept failing me. So, do I think he's going to be as good in 5v5 than 3v3? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean he's going to not have a use. If your opponent sets a kind of crappy team, take advantage of it with Sidious and get your full banner win there. We have to include him on the list. Next is Boba Fett, Sino Django with Fennec Shan with the specific Focus Datacron, the level 15. Again, their viability is going down compared to 3v3, but they could still take out Saw teams. They could still take out a number of other teams. So I have to include them on the list. They're really good as a duo this season. Then we got to talk about Malgus. And the reason Malgus is specifically on offense instead of flex is because I think he's going to be the go-to counter for Mace. Now, it might be challenging without Malik. So the only reason why I didn't include Malik on this team is because of the Bane counter. But if you don't plan on using Malik with Bane, substitute your assassin with Malik. I think Malik will absolutely for sure hard counter the Jedi Vanguard, because if they get crit, or if Malak gets crit, the fear gets spread, and it's just going to help you out throughout the battle. So that's why Malgus is on offense. He probably will be my go-to mace counter for the season. Then we're going to talk about the two variants of a regular Starkiller team and then what I like to call a Vegito team, where you combine Starkiller with a Malakos. Now, I'm really hoping that this team could still be, used in a split. The more and more as these Grand Arena seasons progress and the more teams that are released, it just doesn't seem like it's almost possible. I am going to split them up for the first half of the season to see if it's even possible. Maybe there's a variation of the Barris lineup on a Ray squad where you can take out a Ray with a regular Starkiller squad. If not, I'm recommending a combined Vegito team. The reason Cal is not listed under the Vegito team is because I have Cal with my regular Ray squad. So I'm putting in Fulcrum as a extra lights out unaligned force user because she is a heavy damage dealer and she's immune to debuffs, so that could be pretty helpful in certain matchups. And that's why I listed Crew in here. He's a very good tank for this team. If you don't feel like using Crew, you could put Crew back with your SLKR and replace with Ninth Sister, the Inquisitor. Very, very good. Next, we got to talk about regular Inquisitors. Now, I do think they're better on offense because on defense, they have a lot of counters. They can be countered by Phoenix. And if you can get countered by Phoenix, you're not going to be a good defensive team. Inquisitors are a very hard team to get, especially if you have Reva. You don't want them to be taken out by a Phoenix squad. They can take out a number of stuff on offense, so I am definitely recommending them there. That's pretty much the reason why. Bo-Katan is a offensive team for me just because of how good the banners can be with OG Bo in the lineup. Every time you attack out of turn, you're recovering protection. For me, that's how I like to play. I want to be able to win battles with the high protection banners so I can get the full banner wins. Bo is the queen of that, so I'm recommending her for offense. Then the next offensive team that is, very old, but it's still reliable today because they could take out gas is going to be a CLS team. And CLS has powerhouse damage dealers. If you have the modded for tenacity, you can take out a gas team, which is great value. So I really like them. Do I think they're as good as they were? Probably not. That doesn't mean they're a bad team. They made it on the list. And the last team I always like to include for offense is Night Sisters, because you can do some pretty crazy cheese stuff with this. You're able to take out Jabba if you have them modded correctly. They're good at banner recovery because of Marin. Every time there's plague, you're recovering health and protection. So I always like to include them on this list no matter what. They always and still will have a use in this game. But that's going to wrap up the offensive list. We're not going to get into my favorite one, which is Flex. And I'm telling you, the majority of this list is going to be Flex because there's so many different characters that can be used everywhere. So let's go check it out. Starting out the Flex category is Jedi Master Luke. Specifically with the Hermit Yoda Focus Datacron, I think this team is actually going to be really good on defense if you put it on there. I underestimated it a ton in 3v3. I actually got a ton of holds with it on defense, but I also think it's going to be very good on offense because you can manipulate the coin mechanic with Jedi Knight Luke. So you can take like 9 turns in a row. It's actually absurd. So the offensive viability, 100% there, but even if you wanted to throw a curveball with your opponent, very good on defense as well, but you need the Hermit Yoda Datacron. That's what needs to happen. How can I not include probably one of my favorite teams in the game right now, Great Mothers. Great Mothers are so freaking good on offense, it's absurd. They could take out Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano with Ezra if you have them modded correctly. This is what I mean. If you don't have your team modded correctly, or if your Ezra's slow, this team will walk all over it. 100% just an insane team. So if you haven't checked out my video with Great Mothers against Ahsoka, I recommend you check it out. I'll leave the link in the description down below. But regardless, they're very good on offense, and even on defense, if you underestimate them with the Morgan Omicron, you're in for a long night. So Great Mothers have to be included on this list. Now is Afra. Afra still has her Focus Datacron, can be a total annoyance on defense, but absolutely walks over Jabba on offense. In my opinion, it eliminates Jabba on defense for this season, specifically because of the Focus Datacron. I like to include Chrysanthemum because of the level 3, and Darth Vader because he has good synergy with the team. So that's the team I'm going to be recommending for Afra. Really good. Then for the Flex, I was thinking about putting Balin specifically on defense this season, but then I realized he has such good synergy at taking out Kenobi because of Ahsoka So if you ever happen to see Kenobi on defense, Balin will absolutely walk over it. So if you try to see some crazy stuff with like Jedi Master Kenobi on defense with a Hermit Yoda Datacron, he can hit under protection. So that protection up is not going to do anything because of the Ahsoka synergy. So that's why I'm recommending him in the flex. I do think he's going to be annoying on defense paired with the Hondo Omicron. Going to shut down a lot, but also going to have great value on offense against Kenobi. So keep an eye out on Balin. Then, probably my favorite team on offense for 3v3, Queen Amidala with Shaak Ti and Echo for 5v5, specifically with the support cron. So, is Queen Amidala still a very good team without it? 100%. But the value that the team brings with the support cron is absurd. Padawan Obi-Wan's damage ramps up to sky-high level. I'm talking insanity. You pair that with Echo and Shaak Ti, they're both supports. They both land debuffs, technically, in their kit. There's a way that Shaak Ti applies the buff immunity. It just happens. That's ramping damage for your team. Echo has an AoE buff dispel with debuffs, so really good. They're going to take out GLs. They're going to be very annoying on defense as well. They have to be included in the flex category. Now I have to include Saw. And for me, Saw is a normal defensive team. 100%. Always thought he was defensive. But players are actually utilizing him with his Datacron to take out Queen teams on offense. So I have to include him in the flex category because if you put him on defense, he can be taken out very easily by Boba Fett, Sign of Django. But not many players will, not a majority of the players will have that at lower elo. But at high elo, they might. So having him on offense is going to be good. So if you have him modded pretty well and their Queen team is not modded optimally, you're going to be able to take out Queen teams with the Datacron. So that's why he's in the flex category. Same thing with the Bad Batch. Bad Batch is a very annoying team on defense. A lot of players would use JML against it, and JML is now considered massive overkill against this team. So you're going to have to figure out something else. But on the flip, they can take out Queen Amidala teams fairly easily. I've done it. I did it a bunch previous 5v5 season. Probably we're going to be using them on this season. Do I think they can take out the support cron with Queen? I have no idea. We have to test that out. Regardless, still a very good team, especially paired with the Omega and Crosshair Omicrons. Very good. Then we got to talk about a Mandalorian team, and I think that Mandalorians will shine more in 5v5 than 3v3 because they do really benefit with the full Darkside Mandalorians with Canderous, Ordo, and Jango Fett. If you guys wanted to keep Jango with the Trench team, you can include an Empire character like maybe Thrawn or something. Any Empire character that you wanted to use. But if you have the Gar Saxon level 9, I think it's going to be your best option. The Super Commando has a use in some situations, but I think the Gar Saxon one is going to be really, really good. Mandalorians will be very good in this season. Then Traya. Traya, I think, is ultimately always going to be a flex pick because on defense, she ultimately almost requires a GL to take out. Any other battle is going to be kind of risky, so it makes your opponent have to think about how they want to approach it without overkilling it. But on the flip, on offense, they can take out Gungans fairly easily. They can take out a Bo-Katan. They have great use on offense as well. Good banner recovery if they hit Savage. So I do like that there. They might be my premium Gungan counter for the season. I have to see if I can keep them alive enough to survive those big hits from the 100% damage level 6. So I think Traya is an ultimate flex category. Then I'm including the Old Republic with Omicron Zalbar. Specifically with the Zalbar focused Datacron, I don't think they're going to be good on defense without it. But if you pair the Zalbar focused Datacron with this team, pretty annoying. I actually did really well with them against the Gas team on offense. I got a full 65 banner win with them. So it has a use. Is it an S tier team? No, but it's still very good in 5v5 and still has a use in Kyber 1. Now we got to include Gas. Now, Gas is always going to be in a flex category for me because on defense, he's fairly good because he can strip banners easily. He's annoying to deal with his kneel ability. And on offense, he can kind of get you out in pinch situations, like if you didn't have a team for Saw, or if you had to clean up a race squad. Gas still has a use for that. The problem is the banners are terrible. There's no protection recovery on this team besides Gas when he kneels. So that's the only issue I have with Gas on offense, but he will get you out of a pinch, so he's included on the list. Now we have Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, and I'm putting him in the flex category because he might surprise people if you put the support cron on him on defense. I know that might feel weird, but the support cron on a DTMG squad can actually ramp up the team's damage a crazy amount. So if your opponent brings in a Radish squad and you are using DTMG against the DTMG with the support cron, they might blow up your team quicker for you before you get to your ultimate. So just want you to keep an eye on that. Very, very surprising. So even on defense and offense, they can actually really do a lot. So keep an eye for Dark Trooper Moff Gideon this season. Next up, we have to include Omicron Qui-Gon Jinn, and one of the first Omicrons in the game. Still has a use today. I actually use it all the time in Kyber 1. Sometimes I do it for a mirror match. I can take out a gas squad as well. They always will have a use. Paired with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Anakin, the damage is crazy. If you have a Jedi Vanguard Datacron with the damage reduction, could be pretty annoying on defense, because if you try to take out Qui-Gon and you can't because he's at 50% turn meter or higher, it could stall the battle up a lot, and the Anakin and Ki-Adi-Mundi are gonna deal a ton of damage to you. So that's something to think about with the level 6 Jedi Vanguard. And the last team I have to include on this list is going to be a focus Datacron for Hera, and the reason why I'm not including Captain Rex on the character squad is because Captain Rex will just ultimately make this Gungan Tusken food. It will make it Tusken food. If you don't include Captain Rex, it's actually a pretty annoying team to deal with. So it's crazy how Captain Rex actually hurts them against Tuskens. But if you just include the regular 5 with the focus Datacron, it could probably throw off your opponent, because they can't be instantly defeated, or they can't be defeated unless Kanan is taken out first, and he's a pretty annoying tank. So that is going to wrap up the best 5v5 teams for the month of July. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Please leave all your comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what I got right and what I got wrong. Are you guys going to be using any of these teams? Do you guys have any questions on it? Leave it all down below. But again, if you guys enjoyed it, leave a like, comment your thoughts, and if you're not already, subscribe to the channel to become a Knight of X. And I'll see you guys in the next video. May the Force be with you all.